Welcome to the Beat Around the Bench podcast about woodworking, good times, and general jackassery. With your hosts, Jess of Jess Build It, Colton of Cold Crit, and Ross of RNC Woodworking and Designs. You can find us all on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. In this week's episode, we're missing a third of our trio. Colton does last-minute preps before the baby breaks down the door. Jess is MIA down in MIA. And Ross is Jurassic Sparked on his current build. All of that and more is coming right up on this episode of the Beat Around the Bench podcast. Now, for episode 107, the Purpleheart. Now, this episode, unfortunately, we are a little bit I don't want to say lackluster. We are missing a third of this trio. Jess is unfortunately tied up with one of the craziest weeks he's had in a while, but we hope to have him back next week. And I literally just walked back in the door from being on vacation with my family in New York City, where the actual temperature, daytime high, was 102 3 days in a row, and it was about 110 real feel. It was gross.
Is that very normal for New York?
No. In fact, that was the hottest temperature they had on record since 2012. So,
man, you said it was 102, and I was like, dude, it's like 86 here in Houston, but I think it's rained almost every day for the last 2 weeks, though.
So this morning, I woke up and went to go get myself and my wife coffee, and I walked outside, and it was 74 degrees out, which is like, to me, the ideal temperature. But it was it was 30 degrees cooler than it had been the past week when we were there. And it honestly, I don't think I've ever said this in my life. 74 degrees felt a little cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 74. I mean, that's good resin pouring temperature too.
Yeah.
For most of the resin, at least my resins.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, do you wear a big coat a lot up there in Chicago?
No, I'm more of a layers kind of guy rather than a big coat kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
Multiple layers, a lot of vests. You know, like a sweatshirt and a vest, or a sweater and a vest, whatever it is. Not a sweater vest, very different, but yeah.
Hey, I'm all about a good vest, man. Dude, so
before I forget, I do have to give a shout out to the title for today's episode. Deep Purpleheart was suggested and submitted by Lee Drummond of Dusted Knuckle Woodworks. He literally was, after our last episode, was texting me. He was like, dude, I am loving all these band name like wood species. And he went on a rant. There was like 7 or 8 of them he threw at me. He was like, this is so much fun. But this was my favorite one. So Lee, thank you for this. And hopefully we'll have you on the show.
I want to ask about the other ones, but I don't want to ruin the surprise.
Yeah. So there was some good ones in there.
Yeah.
So you were starting to say.
I saw the craziest, Frankenstein of equipment, it just screams OSHA violation. But my neighbor across the street, Mo, he was mowing his yard, and I hadn't told him that we were moving yet, and I was back at the old house getting it ready to go. And I came up, and he had this weed eater, or with the
like
edger
a trimmer
attachment. Yeah, like the edger, right? It's normally like, it looks like one of the middle blades of like my dado blade. Yeah. Right. It's normally just like one bar. Yeah. And he had put like probably a 60 to 80 tooth. I think it was a combo blade.
Like a circular saw blade? Oh my God.
It was a table saw blade where the things go. Isn't that? And there was a lot of teeth too. I'm pretty sure it was like 60 to 80 teeth. And he was like, it works great. He's like, even small trees, like he's out there. But luckily, I guess those edger blades are the same diameter or length as as 10 inches. So he still had a guard on it, right? And I was kind of thinking,
doesn't matter.
I mean, like, is that really that much more dangerous, like a circle saw blade, than the original blade that was on the edger? I mean, they'll both grab and run. I mean, the table saw blade is going to do more cutting, but
so the thing is, let's say for example, you're using the traditional edger, which is just one piece of metal. If it runs up against sidewalk or a tree that's too big, it literally hits it and stops because it's just too much to go through. The circular
yeah,
saw blade or the table saw blade is made to grab, pull it in, and keep cutting continuously. Like its
yeah. Oh,
job
the
is
pull
to not
in,
get
yeah.
caught. Yeah.
the Oh man, I sent you a picture. We should I should have
You
got a
did send
picture
me the
with
picture.
Mo with it. We should put it on the Instagram.
That is terrifying. That is redneck ingenuity at its finest.
Yeah, dude, it's so fun. So my neighbor Mo, he is a really handy dude. He is a YouTube mechanic, right?
Okay.
And he's Thai, like his whole family's from Thailand. I think he came over to Houston when he was like in middle school, maybe. But me and him get along really well. I'm better on like the woodworking side. He's better on the cars, right? So, you know, I helped him build the side of his camper out of some plywood and all this, and then he helped me like put the leveling kit on my truck. And
there you go.
I'm gonna be sad to see him go, but
you're
yeah,
the one going, not him.
I'm sad. I'm sad to go. You know, like I'm sad to lose a good neighbor.
Okay.
Well, yeah. It.
I actually have a question about your move because you are T-minus 1 week, 7 days from the due date for your wife.
Yeah, we like to do everything on hard mode.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like
hey, let's just go ahead and move our house in your third trimester. Yeah, it sounds great.
How has number one? How is she feeling?
She's feeling about as good as like a beached whale can feel, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
No, she's doing all right. You know, like her back's hurting. Like she has all these pains, but overall everything's good.
Okay.
You know, she's not like on bed rest or anything.
Okay.
But yeah, due date is next Thursday, and so she really wants to try to avoid inducing, and so we're doing all the wives' tales trying to get this labor to get started. You know, like
so, anybody listening, if you happen to have some suggestions that will induce labor,
oh yes,
shoot them over to either Colton as a DM or comment on this podcast or shoot us something on Instagram. We would love to hear what you think is going to induce this baby. And before the next episode comes out, hopefully little baby Colton is out. So
yeah, wow, it could be the next episode. Yeah, it's still sinking in, man, little bit by bit. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. And then like, I'll see a car seat or a stroller. I'm like, oh, it's going to be us, or, you know, and then wave on wave. But I don't think it's going to really sink in till she's here.
That's fair.
But
that's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, everything's healthy, going good so far. So
how are the projects, the honeydew list in the last week? How is that coming together?
So it's going well. You know, I wish we were further along. However, the big thing right now is getting the old house on the market. And so officially as of today, like the house is empty. I still have all my shop there, but we can get it on the market while I still have the shop in place. And I think a lot of the houses we toured when we were looking around, the garage is locked anyways, a lot of times. Yeah. But yeah, and I think I might need to get some serious help for moving the shop because we'll probably.
I've been in your shop before. You're going to need some help.
Right.
I think I know this sounds dumb. You should literally pack up, if you can, get like one really good like tool cart like you'd have for like a mechanic. Theirs is more than just like a normal, like it's like a tool chest, if you will. Put all of your hand tools and as much as you can into that guy so you can wheel it out. Everything else should be able to go on wheels on furniture dollies, but you should honestly hire like 2 guys from outside of Home Depot and just say, guys, I just need labor helping to carry some of this stuff. You know how valuable some of this stuff is. So you're going to be gentle with it, hopefully, but like that's going to be your best bet. You just need grunt labor.
Yeah. Which, so far, like, so everything outside of the shop has already moved into this house, and I did basically all of it. I had my buddy, Dylan, he helped me a few times, but overall, it's just been busting it, kind of doing it myself. Wondering if it might have been better to pay people, but I think, yeah. So here's another thing as far as like hiring movers. When I was with XFR, one of our biggest, like most consistent customers were movers, right? Because they damaged all sorts of stuff, which
all
granted,
kinds of stuff.
Me and Chris, we don't have a ton of really nice stuff, but like, or like antiques, but like, I don't know. We do have like a standing piano, like my grandpa's desk that I use, and there was a handful of stuff, but yeah, oh, here's one nugget that really saved me was, so for the first big move, got a 26-foot box truck, and I had to go through Penske, but I got one with a lift gate.
Yep.
Right. Like
you're going to want that again.
Yeah. And especially for the shop stuff, that little ramp is for the birds. Like, yeah, that helped a lot. But yeah, so the house tomorrow, I did pay somebody to do something. Tomorrow we have cleaners coming.
Yes,
and
great idea.
I don't know how they can do it. So they're doing like a full deep clean.
That's what they do day in and day out. Like no matter if that's all you do day in and day out, you're going to get really good at it and really efficient.
They're doing it for $225. Like, and it's not a small house, and like I don't even, it doesn't add up. Like, I was trying to
think of it this way: there's probably two of them doing it, right? A team of two will come in.
I don't know how many are coming.
It's probably going to be two people, and more than likely they are going to do your entire house in like 3.5 hours, and then they'll go to another house and do another house in 3.5 hours, and make basically $500 on the day between the two of them. And that's going to be,
yeah. If it was two of them at 3 hours, it'd be like $30 an hour. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if you called like a service for it, the service is probably keeping like 10 to 15 of those dollars per hour. But
oh yeah,
they're still paying, let's say $20 an hour for somebody to clean.
And no, this is through, it'd probably be more expensive through a service or like through like a more official brand. But no, I got this from Tony, this contact. Oh, speaking of Tony, sorry. Yeah, we missed last week. I didn't get to talk about it.
Yes, I apologize for that.
I got to get over in Tony's shop last week.
Ooh, how did that go?
Yeah, so it went really good. It was a really cool thing we were working on. Right. So originally he called me, his sprayer flaked, right? Like his last minute, they have a rush project, but they were building like the 6 foot tall marquee sign.
Yeah. Yep.
I believe that's how you say it. And so there's like one cylindrical prism in the center, and then there's like two semi spherical prisms on the left and right side. And then so it's like a semicircle column, and then going around those semicircle columns is like this plastic tubing that they heat up and bend and run LEDs through it, but it looks like neon, like a neon light. Okay. And then there's all sorts of lights going on in the middle, but they were painting it candy red and doing it with like the customer provided the paint. I don't know. If it was my project, I might have fought him on that a little bit. But and it was like an enamel-based paint, and he was real worried about it. And but yeah, so I went and helped him out 2 days over there, and it was really cool. He's working with a restoration a company that specializes in like wine racks.
Okay.
And which they do a lot of other stuff, obviously from the marquee sign. Yeah. But yeah, it was super cool getting to work back with Tony again. And it was also fun being on the other side, right? Like before he was helping me with all these cornhole boards and all that. And then now I get to come help him. It's a lot easier to be a helper. And then
Absolutely.
instead of trying to plan everything out, make sure your helper is actually being helpful and all that.
Now,
But
on that regard, did you learn anything from being on that side of the equation?
Yeah.
Or was it more just fun to just go?
I think I learned more whenever I had the helper. Like, oh crap, I need to plan ahead. What all we're doing, and can't just jump in like I can when I'm solo, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, playing out people's time is the hardest part, man.
Okay.
But especially when you got like a big team.
Okay.
But yeah, so I ended up not even doing the painting, but we did a ton of Bondo work and making those spherical prisms were tough because they had to be strong enough to take a screw into them and all this. But yeah, he got it out. I helped a little bit, and it's good.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, man. Have you had any shop time or? Oh yeah, where'd you go? You went to New York, huh?
I went to New York City. I did have some shop time last week, and I am going to be unbelievably under the gun over the next few days leading up to 4th of July. The table that I was having CNC'd, I thought was going to be maybe 4 to 5 hours of CNC time. Turns out it was 14. Because even though they had a 12-foot long table and it said it had 10 feet of cutting length, technically it only had 115 inches instead of 120 inches of cutting length. So we had to rework the entire size of the tabletop and redraw everything in their system, and then level the entire table, cut out the oval shape, and then level both sides of the table, cut out the oval shape. And then as long as I had it on the CNC, I also had them cut the channels for the C channel. Just because it's going to save me a ton of time. But last
you cut it
week,
real small, like an 1/8 inch bit, or using like a 1/4 inch, like big fat?
So the
lines?
Leveling was all done by a slab flattening bit, obviously. And that took hours upon hours of leveling time. That was 2 days just for flattening on both sides. And then day 3, they ended up cutting the shape from the underside. And they did that with it was a 1/2 inch wide by 3.5 inch long bit. It was both a up and down
1/2
cutting
inch
bit.
wide. The diameter is
yeah. It was beefy.
Yeah, okay, that's out of my league, man.
I
thought 1/4 inch was eaten, but 1/2 inch.
No, dude, this was. I mean, this is a 12-foot by 5-foot CNC, so like it's a big machine, and so then we ended up going down to a 1/4 inch bit for cutting most of the cavity of the C channels, and then the drop just for the deepest part of the C channels. That was done with an 1/8 inch bit.
Right on.
So, yeah, a lot of changing out of things, but I got it all, and I literally brought it back to my shop last Wednesday night at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and then I left on Thursday for New York. So, no, I left Sunday for New York. I had something going on. Either way, Friday, that was it. Friday, I spent the entire day trying to rig up what was going to be the internal frame for bending this shape that the customer wanted. And I figured out how to do it.
You doing like steam bending?
So here's what's going on. The customer had wanted what would end up being like an extremely hourglass tapered look all the way around, kind of uniform. And
you're talking about on the base right now, right?
On the base of it, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a tulip style base. I realized I wasn't going to be able to totally replicate that everywhere just because of stability and a few other things, and like how was I going to attach the tabletop to the table, if this was an hourglass thing. It was a whole back and forth. So I ended up coming up with a design where I'm making internal ribbing the same way, like, and what gave me the idea, my son was actually playing with a dinosaur 3D jigsaw puzzle.
Like the
And
balsa wood ones?
yeah. And
Yeah.
basically, you think of like how all that fits together, and then you could stretch skin over it, and it would be a perfect fitting dinosaur, right? So
Right.
I realized I could do the same kind of thing for this table base. So I ended up cutting a whole bunch of internal ribbing, if you will. I cut a frame for both the top and bottom of the base on the interior of it, around a central column, and I have been tacking in every 3 to 4 inches um, the plywood that I cut into the right shapes, and it's going to kind of taper and bend all the way around. So while I was at the CNC shop, they also happened to have some pre-kerfed plywood. So I have basically plywood that's cut every, I think it's half inch in an 1/8 inch channel.
That's genius.
Uh-huh.
Like it'll already bend around.
Uh-huh. So
What?
that's how I'm going to bend it around all these different shapes. I'm still working on finalizing it. That's hopefully tomorrow. But
okay, you had me. I was tracking visual or in my head mentally this whole thing until the last part. I think I need to see a picture of it. Is the whole thing cylindrical still?
But it's a tapered cylinder. It's not even all the way around, because it's wider, or no, longer than it is wide by like almost double. So I had to keep the same shape around the center part.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna showcase a lot of that tomorrow. But I will be buried in that kind of stuff tomorrow, and then part of the weekend, and hopefully delivering this table, fingers crossed, Tuesday. So we'll see.
Get her done. Okay. Like, so I know you're stretched on time enough to where you're not filming, correct?
Correct. I'm barely even taking pictures.
Could you just right before you turn the shop lights off to go home, do a quick story?
So I did one on Friday.
See a picture.
I did one on Friday, and it won't obviously show up.
I'm a bad friend. I missed it.
Yeah, but you'll see it. I'll do some tomorrow. So yeah,
okay, awesome.
So yeah, I'll make sure and tag you guys in it so you can see it. But yeah,
hell yeah.
So that's what I am working on at the moment. And then on top of it, I also run sound for a lot of different bands in my area, and outdoor music season has come hard and fast. And I am literally running sound 2 or 3 nights a week, or 2 or 3 days in a weekend, almost every weekend for the rest of the summer. Man. It is just wild. So yeah,
dude, get her done.
Yeah. So
that's a lot of fun. Someone was talking to me the other day about like, oh, you should do a karaoke. You should do a karaoke, or like they were telling me for like a side hustle.
Oh, and, run karaoke.
I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh, you need the soundboard. And I was like, no, I think there's a lot more to it than that.
Like, more things. Yeah.
Like I hosted a big karaoke event. I wasn't doing the DJ stuff, but I hired the DJ and all that and helped them set up for rodeo. And
I remember.
Yeah. And
the circumstances that happened afterwards, we talked about quite a bit on the show.
Yeah, we did. I forgot about that. Yeah. But yeah, his whole setup is yeah, you got to be prepared for anything. And then, yeah, there's a lot more to it than just plugging stuff in. But
there absolutely is more to. You obviously have to have the speaker set up. You need to have a computer that can pull up any song that somebody requests. You need to have a full booklet of like what songs people may want to do. You need to be able to have multiple microphones, wireless mics. You need to have a few other things. So yeah, you're probably looking at, even on the cheap side, absolute bare minimum, probably $1,500 to $2,000 worth of setup.
Right. Man, you know what though, that just got the wheels turning. All right. So say this party boat, like Coco's Party Barge, comes to life, right? We talked about that before.
Yep. That's something you throw the karaoke onto.
I need your help with we could set it up, get like lights, give me some turntables, right? Like we'll
Absolutely.
be DJing it. Oh, that'd be
Dude,
wild.
I can actually recommend some lights from Temu that I've gotten that work really, really well that you can get for like $100 that are awesome.
Dude,
yeah.
I love whenever the gamble on the Temu stuff works out.
Mm-hmm. I will say again, and I know I have stated this before, the T&G portable speaker from Temu, and I've listed it on the podcast before as a nugget. That thing is incredible, and it is literally the same JBL pill speaker for $7 as opposed to $57. So pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one like that. So it was before I bought them before Temu, but my shop lighting, right?
Mm-hmm.
It may have even been Amazon, or
I think
maybe
they were
it was
Harbor Freight. You told us.
No, I didn't get these at Harbor Freight. It may have been Alibaba or something like that, but it was so cheap it was almost a gamble.
These are the ones for your cornhole boards, right?
No, these those LEDs were I did those with Alibaba, but that was a little more official. Like I had a lot of back and forth with the manufacturer and all that. But no, I was talking about it, like in my actual shop. I have 3 rows of lighting on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And they're 8-foot bars. I want to say 10,000 lumen, but I'm about to take them. I'm about to take them down, and they have lasted at least 3 years so far, and it's as bright as like a operating room in there. It's like a laboratory.
Awesome.
But yeah, and like I think it was maybe a fourth of the cost if I were to go to Home Depot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Colton, we wanted to keep this episode a little bit shorter because we didn't have Jess here, and we just wanted to touch base with everybody. But obviously, we don't have a we don't have a wood of the week, and we don't really have any trivia. But last week, I got a lot of great feedback from people, or 2 weeks ago, I should say, about the 5 whiskeys under $100 for Father's Day. And I know that, well, you know what? I'm going to give us a jingle, and then we can talk a little bit more about some whiskey. Sound good?
Woo. All right.
Yeah.
Showtime! The whiskey of the week.
So the whiskey of the week for this week, I actually wanted to dive into a little bit of economics, and it's more because I have noticed, and if you haven't noticed, you've had your head under a rock. But with the myriad of tariffs that have happened and the surging pricing in cost of a lot of different spirits and wines from all over the world, as well as the downturn in the economy overall, people are watching their budgets quite a bit more than they had been before. But there's still some great whiskey out there, and I wanted to recommend my top 5 whiskeys under $30 a bottle that are still going to be a great whiskey for you. So I don't know if we want to go in any specific order, but we need a little pomp and circumstance here. So coming in at number 5, Buffalo Trace. I know this sounds strange because most people go, well, I can never find Buffalo Trace. Right now, there is a glut of Buffalo Trace out in the market, mostly because the Sazerac company held on to a bunch of it, and all of a sudden they are trying to dump it this month to try and hit numbers for the end of their fiscal year, which is the end of this month. So they are pushing real hard. You are going to see floor stacks of it all over the place. It should run you $24 to $29.99. And for what it is, if you can get it at that price, it is a fantastic whiskey.
Okay? For me, Buffalo Trace is really good for cocktail, right? Yeah. Like you can make a hell of an old fashioned with it.
Absolutely. Or you can drink it on its own. It's one that, like, if you have whiskey friends coming over that like are pretty knowledgeable, they'll be like, dude, where'd you get Buffalo Trace? Or if you have people who don't know anything, you don't feel as bad having some of it go away because you can get it again. There are some places you can even get handles.
Yeah.
So
I didn't. Oh, I've never seen a handle. That's exciting. But I didn't know that there was a shortage. I mean, I've been out of the whiskey market for, I guess, 3 months now. But I didn't know there was a shortage. Oh.
Artificial demand is created. I'll put it that way.
Understood. Yeah.
All right. Number 4. The Elijah Craig. You can go with bottled and bond. You can go with single barrel. You can go with just a standard everyday Elijah Craig. There are some great single barrels out there on the market right now that are just literally sitting, and they're probably going to be anywhere from $21.99 to $27.99. And Elijah Craig, for what it's worth, being in that price range, you can get some great whiskey. If you're a Costco member, they typically have it just sitting on the shelf at like $24.99, or if you get the liter size, it's a little bit more. But for the bang for the buck, it's really good whiskey. So definitely worth taking a look at.
Yeah, I was trying to remember which one we got for that we reviewed on the podcast.
If you give me a second, I will pull that up. Hold on one second here, sir.
I remember looking at the bottle. Like I kept all the bottles. And I have them loaded up. I'm looking at the box right now, or the boxes of them. I got some ideas.
Let's see.
We got to see what Crystal will let me do, because we share an office now.
Oh, good Lord. Okay. How's that going to go?
Oh, I think it's going to go good. Like, I don't know. She actually likes working with other people there, right? Like,
some people hate it. Some people do really well with it. So,
yeah.
I am looking through, and I am actually not seeing Elijah Craig anywhere in our records. We have done a lot of other whiskeys, but we have never done an Elijah Craig.
Dude, I'm picturing the cursive on the bottle.
Yeah, I looked through the records of every episode going back to season 1.
Actually, no.
We've done some others that start with an E.
I'm picturing a different bottle. Yeah, you're right.
We have not done. So maybe we'll have to bring that back sometime soon. So yeah, to those listeners out there, pick yourself up a bottle of Elijah Craig. It's really good for under $30. All right. Number 3. This one's a little bit more fun. This is the Fighting Cock. And this is one that we recommended back in season 1. And Colton was very worried about it because it did come in basically at $19.99. And it really hasn't changed as far as pricing. And he was very worried based on the fact that the price point was where it was. And the proof was where it was. It's usually sitting around 110 proof, 108, 110. It is a really good whiskey for $19.99. It's usually somewhere in the $19.99 price to where you can down the entire bottle and have a pretty rough next day because the proof is higher. But like, you don't feel bad if you and your friends sit down and kill a bottle, because it's actually really good whiskey to talk about. And if you have some true whiskey connoisseur friends, if you pull out a bottle of that, they will be quite surprised if they either never had it before, or if they had it and go, dude, you know your stuff. Like, that's a good one to keep in reserve.
Do you normally, when you're hanging out with your buddies, talk about fighting cock?
I mean, clearly, yeah. Clearly, we are big South Carolina Gamecock fans.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. Fighting cock. Yeah. I just remember that one being hot. Like,
yes.
For me personally, like, if I'm taking it neat, it's a little bit more of a shot than a sip.
Absolutely. But you can throw a rock or two on there. It's really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming in at number 2. The Early Times Bottled in Bond.
Yeah. I felt that one was going to be on here.
So this one is one of my favorite. I couldn't remember
if it was below 30. Oh, sorry, I keep cutting you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. That's normally in the $27.99 range. If you can find it. It's a little bit tougher to find these days, but some stores are still sitting on a good amount. It is definitely one that most people because of the early times name, would never look at. It's really good. It's really good whiskey for $27.99.
Yeah,
It comes
I
in
was
at
thinking
100
that it
proof.
was. I thought it was over. Yeah, this is one I've bought more than once too.
Yeah,
Right when I was going through my bottles, I had duplicates, and so I threw some out.
yeah.
But
Honorable mention here: the Old Granddad 114. That one comes in, depending on local taxes, anywhere from $29.99 to $34.99, and local markup. But it wasn't always coming in under $30, which is why I left it off the list. But the Old Granddad 114, most people see Old Granddad and they go, I would never touch that stuff. It is unbelievable whiskey for the price. So definitely take a look at that one. And last but not least, coming in at number 1, Bullet Rye whiskey. Now, the reason that I say Bullet Rye is because if you've listened to this show before, you know that both Colton and myself are fans of rye whiskey. And my favorite, not only just because I work for the company, but just it's really, really good whiskey, is the Old Elk Rye. Bullet Rye is the closest I have come in a mass production, low cost rye whiskey to that everyday quality of Old Elk. They are the same mash bill, different age statements. Bullet is typically 3.5 to 5 years is usually the blend in that mix. Safe to say probably 4 to 5. The Old Elk is hedging anywhere from 5 to 8, so it's a little bit different there. But same mash bill, same quality. So if you're looking for something higher quality that's readily available, Bullet Rye would be my number 1 if you want to have a great rye on your back bar. So,
yeah, anytime I'm at a bar and they ask me what kind of whiskey I want in a cocktail, I look for the Bullet Rye first.
There you go.
Also, because they're really well distributed.
Absolutely.
At least here in Texas.
Worldwide. That's actually one that you can typically find. Like if you travel all over the world, you're going to find Jim Beam products, you're going to find Diageo products, and you're probably going to find Pernod Ricard products. So on the and Jack Daniels. So you're going to find Jack Daniels all over the world. You're going to find Jim Beam products, usually Jim Beam white label, and maybe some other Suntory products. You're going to find the Diageo, so the Captain Morgans, the Johnny Walkers, and the Bullet family. And then obviously on the Pernod Ricard side, the Chivas Regals, the Glenlivets, the Absolutes, and Malibus, Beefeater Gin, things like that. So those are going to be your staples around the world. So
it'll also, speaking of honorable mentions, I think if this list had 10, you think Jim Beam would make it on for you? That white label?
No.
Nope.
No. Jim Beam
white
label.
Not your flavor, or is it the trash whiskey? Because I thought it had a decent bite. Like I'm thinking back to whenever I used to get Jim Beam. Like if I was getting bang for buck, that used to be my go-to at one point.
How long ago are we talking?
Oh, before we knew each other.
I would like you to, at some point, reinvestigate the white labels of Jim Beam and
10 form.
And with the newfound knowledge and respect you have for the category, come back to it and tell me what your thoughts are.
Will do. And then one last one for the road.
Okay.
This is actually the whiskey that we made the Concord Dandy with.
Yep.
And originally was Grant's. So it's a blended Scotch. And I think a handle, like the gallon, is under 30. And,
you are correct there.
At least it used to be. I think it's got more popular.
It's not that it's gotten more popular. It's that it's gotten less distributed. Overall, just Scotch whiskeys in general are less distributed because bourbon has become so massive. You can find handles of Dewar's white label. You can find handles of things like Ballantine's. It's a lot tougher to come by some things like Grants these days. Just the low end Scotch market is not really there.
Yeah. I remember the first time I saw it in a fifth. Like I thought it only came in like the big 175. But do you like Grants?
It's not
it goes
my favorite,
down, with some ice.
It does. There are other ones I would probably gravitate towards in that same category before I would do Grants, but it wouldn't be my last one. So
would you do the Johnny Walker Red Label first?
No, if I have to pick anything out of the Johnny Walker family, it's either going to be the Gold Label. The Green Label is surprisingly pretty good as well, but the Gold Label or the Black Label are where I would go.
The black reminds me of weddings.
Yeah. So you asked me earlier, like Jim Beam White Label. When I go to a wedding, there's typically, different tiers of bar packages. You're always going to have a Jack Daniels. You're always going to have one bourbon. It's usually a Jim Beam. You're usually going to have one Scotch, and it's usually Johnny Walker. And then you're going to have either wine or some sort of clear spirit in there as well. I actually have a very tough time at weddings because I just don't like any of those whiskeys. Like they're not ones I gravitate to very quickly. I can't do Jack Daniels no matter what I do. It's not in my flavor wheelhouse. So I will more than likely at that point suck down the Jim Beam White Label, but it's either the Johnny Walker or the Doers are the options, and neither one of those are what I'm jumping to either right away. So there's a lot of times at weddings that like I'll bring my own flask just to have like a decent whiskey, and it's not like I'm sitting there just getting hammered. It's more that like I don't want to drink what they have there. And my philosophy is drink early and dance yourself sober so that you can go home.
Yeah. So, hey, that's not a bad quote.
Yeah. I typically, once I hit the dance floor, I don't drink anything other than water the rest of the night. And that way I can make sure that it's like cutting somebody off in the 7th inning stretch in a baseball game. Give them some time to sober up, and then they're good to go home. So.
Yeah, no, my problem is like the start early thing, like a pregame or whatever, is that once I get that buzz on, like nothing sounds better than the next one, right? And it's I forget to be responsible sometimes. And
that'll happen.
I think that happened this last year at Workbench Con, honestly.
Possibly.
Yeah. No, I actually, I mean, I wasn't mentally there for it, but I'd say it probably did happen.
As the gentleman who was your roommate at Workbench Con, I will attest to that. Yeah.
You woke me up. You're like, you did this. I was like, I did what? Yeah. This whole sober break has been a good thing. But I'm ready to get back on the train.
Okay.
But
I think with that in mind, I
gotta earn it first. So
you do. I think we need to jump into some Snuggets. You ready?
All right. Yeah.
So going into the Snuggets for this week, do you have one you want to share, or you want me to go first?
You got it, brother.
Okay, so go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if you're lined up, man, take it. Yeah. I got mine lined up. So.
Okay, well, mine.
I didn't mean to go back and forth again.
No, you're good. My Snugget or piece of inspiration is actually hearkening back to my discussion about the project I'm doing now. I found inspiration of how I was going to build this project by watching my son play with dinosaur puzzles. Like, my nugget would be let life inspire you and take inspiration from all things around you, because you never know where something is all of a sudden going to click. I was on a mental block of what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And I saw him playing with it, and I was like, God darn it, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. And all of a sudden, my mind just started turning as to how I was going to make it happen, and we're off to the races. So
I love that, man. Another thing I'll do is I'll take like a blank piece of paper and I'll draw like the basic shape, just like maybe just like edges or I'm talking vaguely here. And then like just try to throw weird lines in until something lands. But
so the issue I was having was even in SketchUp, like I didn't have the time to calculate all the insane angles and shapes that we're going to have to go into each piece.
Yeah.
I was like, how am I going to do this? Like, that's what was throwing me off, is like, normally I can see it and in SketchUp draw it all and just go. But like this one was throwing me off as far as the shape and the design. So I'm really, really glad that I was able to kind of figure out how it's going. And I'm even more glad that I got a little bit of a break to step away and really think about the process. And once I get back in the shop tomorrow, it's on.
Dude, I can't wait to see it. Yeah, sorry I missed your story the first time, man.
That's okay.
I can't wait to get my eyes on it.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting. Yeah. Okay, so here's a nugget. It's kind of silly, but could save your life. Not really.
Don't put a table saw blade on a weed whacker.
I don't know. It still doesn't seem that terrible idea to me.
It doesn't seem that safe to me.
Yeah.
We come from opposite sides of this discussion, Colton.
Like, I was trying to think, my first reaction was yours. I was like, that's dumb. And then I was thinking, and I was like, well, it doesn't have a guard on it, and it fits in the guard.
You honestly think that 1/8-inch piece of plastic is going to do anything to protect your leg or your foot?
No, but another dangerous part of it too, I was thinking, is like that blade isn't made to be that rugged, right?
No,
that blade could break and shoot off and shoot your eye out. Yeah. No, my nugget is, so realizing whenever we moved into this new house, right? The old house was a lot of it was designed and DIY'd from I'm sure a 5'0" wife, right?
Yep.
Short. And I realized one day I was like looking in the our half bath mirror and squatting down. I was like, what if I just like stand straight up? And then I couldn't even see the mirror, right?
Happens to me constantly.
Yeah. And then like the shower heads, even like I had to get like bars.
Everything
to raise
hits you in the chest. Yeah.
Yeah. But moving into this new house, it was designed by it had to have been like a 6-foot guy or gal. And it's awesome. Like the shower head, I don't have to worry about hitting it. Like mirrors or work for me, and it's so great. It's funny sometimes, so I'm gonna have to build a step stool for which. No, I don't have to build a step stool, but I want to build a good looking step stool that blends into the dark wood of the cabinets and here, so Crystal can easily pull it out and it's not an eyesore. But because like a lot of the cabinets in here, Crystal can't reach the top couple shelves, and yeah, it feels so good to be able to stretch out. Like the ceiling's a little bit taller in here. I don't have to worry about hitting ceiling fans with my hand. But yeah, so Colton, I guess the nugget is think about maybe do like the average height, not just what looks good to you if you're tall or short. So
okay, Colton, the piece of advice I'm going to give to you, a couple things. Just on the Colt Crit side, projects to do once your baby comes along / you need to make this thing for your wife. Look at making a kitchen helper stand that can double as a stepping stool for your wife. You can do it all on the CNC, but you could make it functional. And that way, as your youngin gets a little older, they can climb up on this thing and help out, in the kitchen and be safe about it. Or it can be a step stool for your wife to reach up into the cabinets. This is something that you could kitchen helper. Just look that up.
Kitchen. Is it just a step stool or is there something else with it?
I'll send you some links, but
okay, I'll check it out.
Either way, the idea is this is something you could pump out on your CNC and create a little niche for yourself in the area to specialize it to whatever color cabinets people have and make it something so it looks like a high-end piece that should be in there and not be an eyesore. So that's my advice to you. Okay. As far as fatherhood, there's a couple things. Number one, I know this is going to sound weird. You will have an attachment to your daughter when she's born, but the true bond between you and her won't really happen until she starts moving around and getting a personality. And I'm talking like 6 to 9 months is usually that time for a father. And most dads I've talked to have said the same thing. Like they have the protection thing initially. They're like, yep, it's great. But because we didn't grow that child until that kid starts to have a personality of their own, that's when you start to really truly bond. So over the next 3 to 6 months at minimum, the best thing you can do is be supportive to your wife. And as far as sleeping schedules, they are going to get very rough. I can highly, highly advise doing it in 4-hour shifts. So like you would take like 8 p.m. to midnight and she would take midnight to 4 a.m. Or if you shift those hours, that way both of you get at least 4 hours of solid sleep as the kid has to get up. Those are my pieces of advice. Take them for what they're worth. But
right on. I appreciate that, brother. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Luckily, we already know I'm pretty good with sleep deprivation, or at least I do it. I can. But
you don't want to do that on the regular. If you can get at least 4 hours and just set a schedule for each other, anything in these hours, if the kid gets up, you got to take care of it. You will help out your wife more than you realize.
I realize it hasn't happened yet, and we'll see how it plays out. But I hope to carry more of the weight to like 60-40 or something. I don't know. But that's what I'm aiming for right now. So
the thing you can do at the moment is as much laundry and housework and cooking, cleaning while your wife learns to take care of a child. So yeah. So in the meantime, if in between now and the next episode, your wife has your daughter, I hope everything goes as perfectly as you could possibly hope. I wish you guys nothing but the best. And early congratulations to you, because at some point in the next, I would assume 10 days, this child will be here. So,
man, I appreciate it. Yeah. One more beater on the bench fan.
Absolutely. And if any of the folks listening out there have any suggestions, they also want to throw Colton's way. Once again, Instagram DMs. Shoot us something on whether it's Colton's individual page or the Beat Around the Bench page. If you want to shoot an email of some things, it is beataroundthebench@gmail.com. And if you have some fun stories of things that happened when you were first bringing home a child, great. Hopefully it was your own. You never know.
Yeah. And send me all the labor-inducing wives' tales,
Yes, absolutely.
Walking on curves, raspberry tea, plums.
All of
it. Yeah.
My wife had read about one that if you eat eggplant parmesan, you'd induce labor. Turns out it's only this one restaurant in Atlanta, so that didn't help her at all. But she ate like 1.5 pounds of eggplant parm.
Really?
Yeah. So to all the listeners out there, be sure to hit that. Oh, and also, before I forget, Jess, we hope everything is going well. He is super busy this week. We hope to have him on next week. As we get back into
get her done, brother.
So to all the listeners out there, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button wherever you're listening to this podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in this week. We hope you enjoyed every second of this episode. And if you didn't, please send all your complaints to our Smokey the Bear confusing legal representation at Blackmore and Coverdale Legal Aids, where their last cross-examination accused a plaintiff of starting smoke on the water and fire in the sky. So either they were napalm factory employees or high as kites. For Jess, Colton, and Ross, this has been the Beat Around the Bench podcast, and we will catch you all next time.
Woo!